we have really, really gone up in that. I would like to see $100,000 cut in that. I don't know how we're gonna do it, so I think it's going to be kind of open discussion, your suggestions and David's and my suggestions. I have a couple of printouts that I did not make copies for you, but I will. I'll run and do those. But one of the things that we talked about was cutting out all the overtime in the police department. We currently have in our resolution, we currently have a sergeant, 3 full-time police officers, a lead officer, and the police chief. We have the police chief and 3 officers. So we cannot cover a 24-hour shift with less than 3 officers with 12-hour shifts. If we were to hire a 4th officer, it would end up costing the town somewhere around $15,000 more than what our current salaries are. So all of that is something you probably just need to keep in mind with the police department. We can cut the overtime, but it's still going to cost us a full-time officer.
You see, Patsy, it looks like you're paying overtime, but the week before, they only work, 34?
Yes,
34
36 hours. They have a 36-hour week and a 40,
So you're just basically paying
48.
4 hours overtime, right?
That's, no. They're actually getting 8 hours overtime because the law is
Anything over
beyond 40 hours. So they're getting 12 hours of straight time, which would be 8 hours of overtime. Yeah, but their overtime, all of the officers' overtime does not amount to what it would cost to bring in another full-time officer. And we are using our reserves as much as possible. The reserves, most of them live outside of town. So it would take them, like, one of our reserves lives down in Sahuarita.
Okay.
The other, just all over the place. And they have jobs that they work at, so their reserve time is very limited with us.
Okay, at this time, I don't think we can do much, except at another time, maybe bring this up, see what we can do.
Okay, I just wanted to fill you in, so when you take it home, you'll know what is going on there.
The only thing we can do with the present staff that we have, Public Works Department, and department heads, that's only, we can touch that today, I guess.
Okay, all right, now, I sent a letter to the Public Works, Monday, saying that we're cutting back 32 hours for the workers. So, my staff is on 32 hours currently, they never went back to 40 hours. So if we take a look at the 32-hour work week for the Public Works and a 5% cut in administration, David's, mine, and Marty's wages, it still will not be enough to see a decrease of $100,000.
What if you cut back to 5 employees in the yard like we were using before?
That has been a suggestion that we're considering that. One of the things that I have spoken with the attorney about is if that happens, do we have to go in seniority? He said typically people do go by seniority, but if you have an employee with the most in seniority who cannot perform duties that someone that you hired within the last few years, then you need to make the decision. Who is going to benefit the town the most?
Exactly.
So you would talk super seniority.
Well, that has nothing to do with union or nothing, it's just gonna be, if we have a reduction in force, it's a reduction in force, period, and Dave decides we'll get whatever.
First off, I would say that you or Councilmember Summer should not be discussing anything in the yard because you have so much family there. And you should not be discussing anything here because your daughter works on this financial report. That is a conflict of interest.
I'm not even discussing your salary. Have you heard me say that, Joe?
You are talking about.
I'm not.
You are
I
talking
haven't
about
talked
the
about the
employees.
department.
Oh.
And I don't have nobody.
We just got through talking about the department.
No, I know.
Joe, I would like to clear something. Brianna does not do any of this work. I have done all of this. But she is an employee here, and I am her supervisor. She does not get preferential treatment from the other girl. They get the same amount of pay. They do the same work. So I don't think with me, you should.
I'm not saying anybody's getting peripheral treatment. I did not say that.
Did we say?
What I am saying is that
Joe.
he is a commissioner over his daughter. And that is a conflict of interest.
No, it's
No,
not.
that's not.
He's only the commissioner of council, that's it.
Joe, you got mixed up. You better get your head together, okay? Get your head
Last time you
together.
stood up and pointed all the commissioners, that's the way it worked.
Joe, the commissioner's over the department head. You don't know what you're talking about. That's your problem.
Well, we-
You don't know the department head and the employees that work under the department head.
We should get to the budget and,
Okay, we'll get to the budget.
And,
You don't know what you're talking about. You tell me.
Neither do you.
And, yeah, you do. You're gonna start already.
That's why we're sitting
That's
here
why
to
you're
find
here.
out.
That's all you do is cause problems, Joe.
That's what you
And
say.
okay, if you want problems, you're gonna get problems.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, you heard that before.
okay, all right, so anyway, I need your help in trying
And
to
this is
balance this
general, we're
budget.
not talking about a certain person.
No.
So it's general. So-
Overall, we can control our spending, but the one thing that the council votes on is the resolution for wages and salaries. Positions, we can, we can take a look at everything, and that's what the workshop should be. Everybody should come in with an open mind and be realistic. And
Exactly.
try to be fair.
That's what we're here to work, Joe. We work as a council, not, you know.
And this
come
is
and
the
bicker and
first,
fight
this
like you
is the
do.
first workshop. This is the first meeting of the budget.
That's correct, that's correct. And we have to have our final budget adopted, I believe sometime in August. I will confirm that.
Okay, so let's get back. So generally, overall, we would go 5% on the department heads.
A reduction in pay.
5%.
Now, another option that we could look at is a reduction in pay and keep the guys to 40 hours, but it's going to be the same thing. I mean, if we do a 5 or 10% reduction in pay, that's equal to a day off a week.
Patsy, I have a question. If you cut back the employees to 32 hours, does that in any way affect their benefits?
It would, but we're looking at this to be a temporary thing, and I think they would be working part-time, less than 40 hours. But I think even our insurance states, if you have to be working 32 hours. 32 hours is
40 days.
considered, yeah.
Yes. But we did this last year too, anyway. We did the
Yeah,
same.
so no one will lose their benefits. But keep in mind also that we made a change in our insurance this year. Rather than paying $530 a month per employee, we're allowing them $150 for it. And they can go out and buy their own insurance, or they can, I have a list of people they can call if they want to, their agents, insurance agents.
So has anyone taken advantage of that?
Everybody has.
Everybody has their own insurance?
Everybody that wants it has their own insurance. However, I just got a bill this morning from one of our police officers who has gone with a totally different company than the ones that most of the employees have gone with. So, and his insurance looked pretty good. It was like $131.
Okay, so let's get back to what we're talking and then go on, you know.
Okay,
I mean, that's old business. We already did the insurance part.
yeah.
Were you over there, Francis?
No.
Yeah, we went back to, it had gone up so much, and they were promising another increase this year, so.
So,
Now, if we go back to, like I said, to layoff, We're not only gonna.
We're not talking layoffs, Joe, we're gonna go.
This
back
is just a
I know, I'm
suggestion.
bringing it. It's not a suggestion, like you said, I can't talk about it, so we'll talk about this, what we're talking about. So we're gonna go 5% on department heads, and, how much on the rest of it?
We want, I don't want to cut their salary. I really don't want to cut their hours. I don't want to cut anything, but, it's 32 hours. We're trying 32 hours. I don't have the cost analysis on how much it would save at this point, but I can get that for you for the
Okay,
next
is there
meeting.
any way that you can put them on 6 hours a day?
You know, we
Yeah,
probably could,
yeah.
but I don't know that it would be, at least this way, that they would have a 3-day weekend. We try to have them so they have either a Monday off or a Friday and, you know, give them a little benefit to that. But 6 hours a day, I think that would, they probably would really frown on that.
Actually, this would be a first phase. Now, if we see that we have to lay off, like Joe's talking, that would be the second phase. That's
Yeah.
what, you know.
And we
Then
don't
would
want
talk about it. So
layoffs
I don't
if
think
we
we
can
can
keep
talk
them.
about layoffs until we try everything we're gonna do there.
But we do, I mean, we are in, a situation that we really need to cut everything because our revenues have dropped. You know, the state revenues have dropped and they have not gone back up. They anticipate they may be going back up, but who knows when.
So how much do you think each employee costs us per year?
In what, benefits?
And altogether wages?
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah, if you look at this, we have divided it out, per, like the 104411 is administration, and the 104611 is magistrate court and the clerks. I didn't label all of those, but this is, the total amount of our salaries, and you add about 30% onto that for benefits.
So
And
where's Public Works?
Public Works is going to be all over the place. I can give you their, they are 105311, 106411, 214011. They're gonna be the last
Public
ones.
Works Director, because you have yours and Police Chief, but not,
The Public Works Director is divided, with, between the Highway User Fund and,
It has Public Works, 2163.
yeah, so it's got, it's at 105311 and,
You've got me split up in 4 categories.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I see it right here, that's 1350, 1350, 3 categories.
yeah,
4 funds or whatever.
yeah, because some of it is Highway User Fund, Water Fund, and maybe sanitation.
okay, but
or-
what I was just asking about is the total. I see where it splits, but I
Okay,
didn't, you didn't put
the total is over here on the edge. See, the Public Works Director is just above the Police Chief.
Mhm.
And if you go all the way over, the salary is 45,000 right there.
Not just a salary though, right? It's not just benefits.
That's correct. All of these are just salaries.
That's what I was getting at a while ago. If we have a layout in the yard, not only are we gonna save on the salary, but we're gonna save on the benefits, the uniform allowances.
That's
the
correct.
boots.
That's correct. However, on the boots, we're probably not gonna save anything because they only get one pair. And they probably all have collected their $100 for one pair. But, yeah, you have to, on the $770,000, you have to add another 30% just to account for the benefits.
30%.
It's gonna be a little more for the police department because their retirement is much higher. We have to pay a lot more for their retirement, like 19%.
So that's the first step, we're gonna cut them to 32 hours per week.
Yes,
And that's already been
and that is effective Monday.
Monday, okay, so that's already,
And keep in mind, that doesn't mean that when we do our resolution, I would not, I would think to just do it as though they're 40 hours, because
they're just temporary.
if things get better, I want the guys to get their 40
Yeah, when we
hours.
do our budget resolution.
Yes.
So right now, we're doing, like you say. you
It's a
already
temporary
ordered.
thing, yes.
Start next week, 32 hours. What about the 5% cut to department heads?
Well, we won't get that back until everybody will go back to 40 hours.
40 hours. Okay, so that's the first step, we're gonna cut them to 32 hours per week. And that's already been,
Yes, it's I mean, is that not a fair thing?
No, are you cutting every department head already 5% of their salary?
Yes,
Okay, that's
yes.
right.
That'll be
So that's
effective Monday
effective,
as
okay,
well.
yeah, okay, you see, so those are effective, those two steps right there. And then we'll review it, I guess later on, if we have to, you know, do whatever we have to do, then we'll talk about that.
I'd like to make another statement on the yard employees. Last time we come back to 32 hours, I was fielding many complaints from other employees down there. They were 32 hours, but the junior employees were getting a heck of a lot of overtime, and the senior employees weren't. And if that's gonna be the case again, I sure don't want this.
You know, Joe, what I would like to just tell you is, to my knowledge, no one, when they were on 32 hours, no one got overtime. The only
Hold
time,
on, Patsy. I'll tell, the reason is, Joe, again, you have a public works director. He determines who knows how to do the work. Now, if these guys are senior, these guys don't know how to lay cement, they don't know how to do a lot of stuff. How are they gonna do it? He's gotta utilize the people, and those guys might get overtime. We try not to have no overtime. We don't want no overtime, period. But if somebody's gotta work, it's not gonna be where these guys are running around, driving around town, doing nothing, because they don't, you know, they don't know what, you know,
No.
even though they're senior. Yeah.
there is one more thing I'd like to say, Joe.
Me too, I would like to ask, on your comment, you said, you know, nobody worked overtime during the 32-hour cut. As you remember, the auditor was in here, and I talked to him on that, and he pulled up the records for me. I still have them in the house, I can bring them to the next meeting if you want me to show which employees were getting overtime.
But the
You know, I
auditor
said it
wasn't-
doesn't matter who gets overtime, it's up to David, it's not up to me, you, or Patsy, it's up to David. It depends what they're doing.
And Joe, I would just like to say,
Because
Yeah.
they're related to the family,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he doesn't want to lose his
Oh,
job.
yeah.
no,
Oh,
Joe,
yeah.
It'd be nice if we were dealing with facts here, some factual evidence, other than just, you know, here's, I don't see
And
any
Joe,
factual evidence.
the auditors, when they were here, they had nothing to do with this. They were in 11, 12 period.
I gave him information to look up for me.
You see, you're not even in the right day, Joe, you better, like I said, you don't know what you're
Now,
talking about.
I will say this, when we have funerals on Saturday, that we charge the people overtime rates, and those overtime rates go to our guys. They're on a rotation in the public works, and if someone doesn't wanna take that Saturday, you know, duty, they can pass it off to someone else.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, during that time, that was the only
You see,
overtime that
Patsy,
would have been.
we're not here to discuss that, because that's not, us as councilmen, that's not our business. Those are day-to-day operations.
Well,
That's
it's,
David's
So that's
business.
expenditures. that
That's
we're
not, you know, that's
reporting
not
out.
your business, that's David's
That-
business.
Yes, it is my business, I'm a councilman.
Well, you're a councilman. We're
Believe it
discussing
or
a
not.
budget, Joe. Believe it or not, we're discussing a budget.
And
it-
these
it has
wages
nothing-
paid
we're not
out
gonna
with
discuss
overtime,
We're
halftime,
not
that
gonna
is part of the
discuss
budget.
We're not
We're
discussing
asking
overtime,
for
we're
that.
discussing cuts.
okay, well, let's,
Okay, let's do the cuts. Joe's not gonna talk about, we're not talking about overtime, you know, we're talking about the cuts we have to do in each department.
okay, so, but the cuts we're considering temporary, and I can make that decision. So at this point, I don't need council approval to
Exactly.
save money.
Exactly.
That was just kind of notifying you that this will happen. If we go to a resolution that everybody only works 32 hours and no more, then we need that council approval
So
on
you're
that.
gonna have some guys working 32 hours in 1 week, and next week they can work,
No,
no?
32 hours a week.
It's just gonna be flat,
Everybody.
yeah. I thought you were gonna let some people work 32, and then next week, the other guys could work 40.
No, the whole purpose of this is to try to just save money and,
But you're saving with your money, you're not saving with half of what we're talking about.
well, I think,
If you
To
wanna
be-
go
to be
32 hours,
fair.
okay.
I think to be fair, I think everybody has to be affected the same way.
And by doing that, it's like laying off 2 or 3 people by going 32 hours.
Yeah.
Patsy, my question is, how many full-time employees, and are we still using part-time people?
We're only using part-time dispatchers,
But I mean, in the public works?
No, no part-time.
So nobody's coming in for special jobs anymore? It's
No,
just-
no, we
So how many
cut those
employees are
out.
there?
There's 11. Do you have 11 employees?
No, nine.
Let me count them.
We have nine.
We have 9, and including David is 10.
They were department.
I'm-
Well, you can't count, you know.
Yeah, and I have 9 employees, 9 public works.
Okay. So we've completely, and we'll probably, if, should someone leave or retire or whatever, you know, I think we would not refill that position right now.
Is Philip coming back?
I spoke to Philip.
We can't really talk about that right now.
Okay.
The position, we don't know
Yeah.
at this
Okay.
point.
The word, you know, the budget.
Yeah.
But, it would be equal to like laying off 3 people, like 3.5 people, 32. So 5 and 4, yeah, it's almost like laying off. And we have one that's not working at all, Phil,
And,
is out of the
yeah,
payroll,
yeah.
so. But you never know attrition, you know, maybe
Yeah.
somebody might quit in a month or next week, but we don't know. So we might not have, you see, that's why I don't like to get ahead of the game, because we're already doing this, doing the hour reduction. Next month, you don't know what's gonna happen. We
And-
might
and-
have another guy quit, or people leave, or get other jobs.
And our intention is not to punish anybody by cutting their hours, we just need to survive.
Exactly. We're doing, it's a business, it's a
Consider
time. in which
the
we're
budget
doing
is not high enough to get off all the employees at 40 hours, but we have to do something,
Exactly.
Yeah.
like 32 hours.
Now, I can give you, at our next budget workshop, I can give you a printout showing the savings for the reduction of 32
Okay,
hours.
yeah.
And our 5% cut.
And the only thing, like Dave,
It
too, I
gives a
think,
printout also on the return that so many employees are saying, well, how much that will save us. I still believe we're gonna save more money by laying off than cutting back to 32 hours. And cutting back to 32 hours, you punish the people that have been here the longest. I mean, that is what seniority is all about, so you can stay.
But it's better than firing somebody. You still
but
got
this
other
temp,
guys.
you, Joe, you gotta understand.
You're not getting
this
fired, you're
temporary.
getting laid off. And you're
You're
gonna
If
being
you
be
have
temporary.
somebody, it's
You're
better
being
to have for
temp- it's
30
temporary.
hours.
These people are set up for 40
Okay,
hours a week.
so,
They
okay,
pay
so
their
we're gonna
own
do that
premiums,
for
they pay the
next
car
time.
premiums,
So we're gonna
they
do
insurance
that.
premiums.
Do
That's the 40
do
hours.
the reduction and
They don't
pay
get the 40
32
hours, so
hours,
they're not gonna be able to do it.
and you're gonna get 5%, and so what's the next step?
The next step is, I'm gonna give you a printout, and we're gonna compare it with
Okay.
these and try to,
And
Look
Mr.
at other
And our
areas.
commissioner has talked to Dave already about saving gas. You already had a meeting, right?
Patsy says it's working really good, too.
Okay, that's good.
She says it's working.
Yeah.
So we're gonna save money and no expenditures. We have no expenditures, I mean, minimal.
I do not drive the town car
Okay.
home anymore.
All that-
David will be using his own personal car to drive to work, and then,
Is that what I'm being told to do? Because I've previously been using the Toyota to drive back and forth to my house, my own truck.
But if we're gonna do this, you know, if Patsy's not, nobody's gonna drive, Dave, that's,
Okay.
I mean, you know, I mean, she's a town manager and we're trying to do this, so we gotta make it, like we said, it's only temporary. So
My
a
problem
month
is
or
my
two-
car being damaged by my employees because I have to discipline them.
well,
That's my problem.
we talked about you
Your
could leave
own
it.
Tahoe is key, you know,
You-
pulled by some unhappy person in town.
you
Is
could,
there any way we make cutbacks on that town credit card? I know.
We already took them all out.
I mean,
They're
that
all
thing, I
gone.
know there's a lot of money going into that.
There
They're all
is,
gone.
but let me just fill you in. That is, we're currently working on, when the guys came in to sign up for their insurance, a lot of them did not have the money to make those first month's premium. So we told the guy, their agent, to charge it to the credit card and we'll deduct it from their salary. They are continuing to charge it to the credit card, and we're trying to
So
get
you
in
have
touch
to-
with the right people to cut that out. And we're dealing with like 4 different insurance companies
Just
on this.
cancel the credit card and get another one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We already took care of that, you know, the credit cards there, we've been collected, that's what Mr. Gallego.
Oh, the gas credit
The gas-
cards, yeah.
All the gas credit cards. And expenditures at minimum, no expenditures, as, you know, anything that we don't need, we don't buy. That's been going on.
So what's happening with the gas now? Because you're saying you're saving here, so what's happening? What are the changes that have been made?
Well, the guys are not driving as much, they're limited to
We
the
should
amount
be
of
able
gas
to
that
limit
they
a
get.
$30 a week fill up. If we run out of gas,
We used to have a $50 a week, you know, fill up on the trucks, and now we reduced it to 30. What was that, like more than a month ago?
yeah, more than a month ago.
And she
And
says-
collected all the credit cards and,
So does every employee have a vehicle?
well, that's.
No, they drive in pairs. They
Well,
drive two together. Sometimes, like,
So
you know,
let's park a few cars if we have
Yeah.
to.
Well, that's
what we're gonna do.
If
He
we
was
have 10
asked,
guys,
telling me he wants a cars, you to probably start dropping off people with radio, a water jug.
We drop them off in their area
And
and
then,
check them out, you know. So
But-
we're gonna have one truck for each person.
no.
But
So
what I
then-
want to comment about this sounds exactly what we talked about a year ago. No credit cards, double the people, and why wasn't it done? Here we are at the end of the year, and we're saying we're stopping it now, but a year ago, we talked about this already. We had meetings about cutting the gas, no credit cards, doubling up, taking their water with them in the morning. How come it went back to whatever, that now you're trying to implement it when it should have been implemented?
Oh, well, it wasn't, we went to
But what
$50 a week, but now we went, like, 2 months ago, we went deeper to $30.
Well, we sat here in front of the auditor when he was here, and he told us we had to tighten our belts to save money every which way we could, because we were in deep trouble. And everybody could sit here and agree to it, and then we doubled the workforce and started giving raises, and that's not tightening the belt, that's the way I see it.
But anyway, so we're doing that, you know, all the, you know, tightening up on that, that's all.
I think when we
can do.
voted to give raises, all of us here sat and agreed on it.
But anyway, so the other thing that's gonna happen, Dave, is you dropping people off. Anybody absolutely, if they need a truck to get around, they need a truck. But I mean, these guys driving around alone or whatever is not gonna happen. That's gonna fall on your responsibility, Dave, you know? If we see that, then we're gonna come to you. We're gonna be
And-
looking at that.
And just as a side note, I've had so many people complain that there's a town truck at Circle K almost any time of the day.
That's gotta be,
So,
they're
so-
seeing the ones next door because my guys are working next door.
No,
They're seeing-
they're going into the Circle K. And I don't mind if they go in and get Gatorade or something, but I just have these people telling me all the time, there is a town vehicle where employees are going into the Circle K at all times. So,
so that's gotta stop.
and I just wanted to tell you that, relay that
I
information.
saw 3 vehicles one morning there, lined up like they were parading.
Patsy, I had one question.
Okay.
You had talked about 10 employees down there, but then there's a question about one employee's name that was mentioned that may not be returning, so that position would not be the
No,
case.
that position is still on there because we don't know, you know.
But if that person does not return for whatever the situation is, then we'd be back to 9 employees. so
That's
we'd be
correct.
saving-
We
Actually,
would
we're at
not-
9 right now, that's all we got.
We would not refill any positions of anyone that leaves.
So there will be a hiring freeze in effect.
There is,
There
and that's what I'm
is.
requesting.
And, so, like we're saying, we don't know, a week from now or 2, we might get news or people leaving or some, so there's a lot of things going on.
And, you
So
know,
has this person requested a leave of absence or out on illness or what?
yes,
So, leave of absence? Okay.
So what other measures do we have for cutting back? Let's see. Where we cut, on the field, we cut back, and that's working pretty good. The only thing is, diesel equipment, like I mentioned today when we're talking about is, when they're pouring cement, they need to pour the cement a little bit closer, because they're using the cannon to pour, and you have to be like, not at the end of the street, you have to be close to it, because that's gonna save fuel.
What we did was, at your request, we did do that, and we were able to put in front of the house, so we had to close the road. You know, my guys, they felt safer, they blocked the vehicle, we had road closed signs up, or detour, been working, we had signs up, and it worked well, because they didn't have far to go. The we can store our sand and gravel on, like, our land next to the water well, like well 4, and, you know, scoop it up and put
But
it in.
actually, that's from the curbing to the property line, that's our property, that's town property. Period. I mean, that's town property.
Okay, since you brought up the tractor, I have a question. David, at any time, has any employee used the tractor for personal, going to their house or someone else's house after hours? Because I've gotten reports that it was seen leaving one of the tractors out of town.
I've never seen my tractors, I've never allowed my
But
men
you
to
haven't
use them
seen
after
them,
hours.
but people
I'm
have
not aware
reported
of
it.
that, this is the first thing I've ever heard of that.
You know, Francis.
I
if-
check all our equipment at the end of the day, I make sure our trucks are, I make sure that our gates are locked, I know where all our equipment is, it's in the yard. If it's driving down the street, call me, or call the police.
Well, I'm just asking
Call the
because
police,
people
but
ask
I'm
me
not
and I
aware
don't
of
But
know.
those people that seen them,
But
they
you,
didn't come here and tell us.
I don't
you know.
believe
You're not
that
the
to
only
be
one
a
to see our
truthful
deeds.
But
statement.
as a supervisor, like you said, he's responsible.
Let
Let me
Right.
rephrase what I said, I
And
do
you
not
would
know
have
that
do
to be a
something about
truthful
it.
statement.
That's what I'm saying. If that's a fact, then those people need to come and tell David when, where, and how, and what number, and who is driving it, and then he has to do something about it.
Yeah,
I would
take
discipline
pictures.
anybody that did
that
that.
was brought to my attention also,
that up
and
to-
it was last week, and it was a
Well,
backhoe.
Joe, a lot of things have been brought to your
Yeah.
attention,
Oh, yeah,
and
I
then
know.
they've all been false.
No,
All
I
been
haven't.
false.
Can I
We'll
just say
find
this
out.
to help, maybe we could all understand? There's people that work for a Sarco
Yeah.
or Smith Farms, and they have the privilege of using the
Like Clark
equipment.
over here.
I have gotten,
Yeah.
I've gotten phone calls, and I've even gone to people's
I
houses
come and
and
speak the other
asking.
day with David, I
Yeah.
said, David, next time you go there, get the dirt on this side, you know?
Yeah,
And he told me, that's not my lawyer, it's Clark's.
yeah.
And it
So,
wasn't, Harry Clark's got one,
Yeah.
Mark Reynoso
Yeah,
has one,
yeah.
there's other people that have machines in town, and when you see people
Well, all I'm
working.
doing is clarifying, I'm just asking, I'm
I
not
got-
saying,
I
I'm
got a
asking
call
whether
in
they're
the
asking
And that
me.
happened
Not
too,
too
because I
long.
told him, he even queried, why are they using that equipment, and he went and checked, it wasn't even.
I got a call from this lady, and I don't know if it's the lady who you're talking about, she's
It wasn't a lady.
the lady
that
that's
called me.
always with, always at war with Irene, her mom. And, that lady called and left a message on my phone and said that somebody's using a backhoe and they're doing work and all this and that, it's a public works backhoe. Well, I shot over here. It was, Harry Clark's backhoe, doing a job, he's a contractor,
Yeah.
he's totally within his rights. You know, he's working on private land.
Well, we're not talking
But,
about that,
You know,
I'm
and
just
so,
asking.
this is
But-
what I'm saying, this was the complaint, and that's what I found out.
but this is, Francis, if you ever get a complaint anymore, please call,
Yeah.
please call,
Yeah,
and
call the
we
police.
will,
Yeah.
we will
I mean,
investigate,
that's
because
all.
I don't wanna see that either.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that.
To the
But
best of
anyway, anybody have any other,
Does anybody have any suggestions on the other areas that we can cut rather than the salaries and wages?
Well,
We're-
I have one question, you said, okay, since he said that you guys are no longer gonna be using, administrative people are not gonna be using the town vehicles, are you guys gonna get paid miles per gas?
no.
No,
So,
I mean, that's my transportation, I don't have to live in Tucson, drive back and forth, I don't expect it.
Okay, so I just wanted clear on that, so.
My question was personally, myself, if I get called out for call-outs, am I gonna get miles per gallon for using my personal vehicle?
But that would be the clerk also, if she got called.
I get called out a lot. She gets called out when there's a disaster, I get called out when, dog barks, I have to show up. Just something I wanna throw out there for
Does your
consideration.
lead man help you as far as
Call out,
call outs?
I'm sorry,
Your lead man or
yes, he
key
does.
people, do they help?
Mhm. Sometimes I'll call him, but it's easier for me to come look, because when I call out an employee, it's 2 hours of overtime. Even if it's just 5 minutes of work, I gotta pay him 2 hours minimum.
How many days do you think you're called out a week? Sometimes a lot.
It's whenever, sometimes a lot, sometimes nothing, the stormy season, the monsoons, we have a lot of problems. The water system shuts off, the booster, the power bumps.
but even that, if that happens, you have guys in town that you
Yeah,
could say,
they could reset it.
go down and reset the water,
Plus,
A lot of
Patsy,
times
isn't
I
there
can-
documentation every time he's called out?
yes.
So that we can see how many times he is coming out and
Dispatch.
the reason?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
you-
if that happens a
you
lot, we'll
document.
talk about it, we'll come back to council and talk, or your commissioner can handle that. You know what I mean, I don't think that's a problem right now, but, as far as purchasing, we're not purchasing nothing,
No.
no. Like, one of the trucks needed, we got used tires up there, you know, that's how we're going, they're staying in town.
Are you the only one that have a key for the gates there?
So the gates, no, my men have keys to the gates.
You know, to open the gate, you know?
Yeah, well, they have a key to open the gate, they have a key, the same key will open the front door to the business, you know, to the shop. You know, if I call them out, they need access.
In other words, I'm trying to say, you think somebody could have got in, got a loader or something like that while you were on or something?
I don't think it was my machines, I don't think it was the town of Mammoth's equipment, I think it was somebody else's equipment people saw. That's what I think. If somebody, you know, everybody's got a phone, if somebody showed me a picture of our equipment somewhere at a certain time, no, I don't.
I think we
There's
just
an easy way
need
to
to-
rectify that, call it, probably cost some more money on the budget, like a can of spray paint. Mammoth,
Well, most of them.
town of Mammoth, you know, mark all the vehicles. Big letters, big.
They already
see
have
it.
one.
They're all
Yeah.
numbered.
They already have seals on them, like that seal on the wall.
Well, there you go.
They have numbers
There
on
you go.
them.
If
They have
the
government plates
person
on
sees
them.
the town of Mammoth, then they know it's town of Mammoth.
Yeah,
If
but-
it's not marked, then they know it's not.
That's it.
At the same time, we need to encourage the citizens, if they suspect this illegal use of any of our equipment, the vehicles, anything, they need to call and let us know.
And I agree, because that's the first thing I said, did you get a picture? Because I don't know. And I said, call them.
Yeah,
The other thing, did the auditor ever call you back on the, how we use your, you know, the inspection and everything?
no, they have not, as, I don't know if all of you knew, I had the, state auditors here looking through our books for, to make sure our revenues were being spent where they should be. As you know, the whole issue with the HERF fund. They were very, very pleased to see all of the improvements that we have done, the sidewalks, the curbing. I had to pull all kinds of information for them and documents, and they even told me that it looks like we have managed to pay back around $300,000 of the money that we owe. Just in shifting monies and putting it in the streets. So that, but all of that is what they suspected during this audit.
We'll see officially once
Yes,
it's
we,
official.
as soon as we hear from them officially, I will be happy to supply you with a copy of everything.
So,
Your question a while ago was anything other than wages and town cars. You did mention the town credit card. Are we gonna discuss all the expenditures on that, or are we just gonna leave it as it is?
Okay. Typically, since we have gotten the K-9, we have used the credit card to order a lot of things for the K-9. We bought supplies from Home Depot. It's cost us a lot of money. However, Thursday on the 28th, the county came down and presented a fake check to the police department in around about $5,000.
to pay for all those expenses.
Yeah, so we're waiting to get the real check. We don't care about the fake check, we want the real check.
Should they come out of RICO funds or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's out of.
Yeah, so, but, and as far as the credit card, I don't even carry it with me. I keep it here at work, so if David calls me on my way to work in the mornings, I usually stop off and buy things on my own, because I don't carry the town credit card with me. As I said, a lot of our insurance premiums are being charged to that. That is going to change as soon as we complete contacting all of these insurance companies and having them bill the employee, and then the employee will bring us their bill, and we would reimburse them for up to $150.
But you will get reimbursed for all these charges? too?
Yes, yes,
So right now, the town you only have one credit card,
that's correct.
and you have it, and that's through Vantage West? Or through
No, through Bank of the West.
Bank of the West?
And I have a meeting, I think it's going to be around the 17th with some officials representing Wells Fargo, and we'll probably do all of the final switchovers then. We've allowed the Bank of the West checking account to get kind of low, and we So we're using Wells Fargo now. Also, one more thing that I kind of wanted to discuss with you guys, and it is a part of the budget. We have money in the LGIP account. We're getting very, very little interest off of that because it's a government and they do not pay the interest. Wells Fargo will guarantee us twice the amount of interest if we switch everything over. That's going to be one of the things they're gonna ask me for.
Can
How
you,
much is in that account now?
I think there's probably about, total of around 275,000.
and can you explain what LGIP stands for?
Local Government Investment Pool.
And how
But-
does that?
But they told us that, Patsy, but, you know, they need to present that in writing and say, okay, we'll give you, you're getting 2%, we'll give you 5%. You know,
But,
they need to bring it.
sure.
Because, you know, I can promise, you know what I'm saying? I don't want
And
to
I
give it
agree.
but I can tell you, hey, you know, give me that money, I'll pay you.
And I
They need
agree.
to officially give us a letter so we can all.
Guarantee us a
Exactly.
set
Like
amount of
maybe
interest.
Next meeting, budget we have, get that letter from Wells Fargo, it's in writing, and we'll make a decision.
Well, and then another thing, we have to be careful with what we transfer over. Some of our, like the court monies, cannot be in an interest-bearing
You
account.
see that?
It has to be just sitting there.
Okay.
So where do we get that money from that account now?
When we got, I opened those accounts when I worked here before.
I know, but how do we get the money to put into, how do we get?
How do we make the deposits?
No, how do we
Where's the
collect that money?
revenues?
Where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? It's coming like from the water, from?
Different
is it
areas.
taxes,
Different areas. When I came to work here the first time, there was probably $900,000 in our checking account. Per the advice of our auditors, we transferred something around five or 600,000 over into this LGIP account.
A
So,
lot of it came from when we closed it down.
yes, yes.
We had money that was earmarked, so they told us, the auditors recommended that we transfer it to those accounts.
So all this time it's sat at only 2% interest?
Yes.
So it's officially 2%.
However, we should be very thankful because a lot of cities and towns lost a lot of money when the financial institutions started going
Yeah, 'cause
under.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
tied in like
Yeah.
the 401Ks and all that.
Yes, yes.
So, I think,
Now, you mentioned Wells Fargo. Have you looked and compared any other institutions, like the credit unions or anything?
yeah, but we're not dealing with that. We're not dealing with the credit unions, we're
You
dealing
know,
with Wells Fargo.
We did.
We did. I did. Vantage West came over to talk to me. And they could not compete.
Yeah, they couldn't manage.
In fact, they could not give us
But
a
even if they
government.
could, we can't
account.
go because we don't have a account with them.
Yeah.
We're-
Well, that's what I'm asking,
Yes.
because she said she's talking to Wells Fargo. So my question is, has she talked to anybody
Yes.
else, another
The
bank?
reason Wells Fargo, they're gonna take over our whole banking system, we're gonna do away with
Yeah.
Bank of the.
Wells Fargo has supplied us with the check scanning.
Yeah,
So
you
we don't
check.
even, yes, so we don't, and they're, for a fee, they will also bring in the debit card. I'm not really ready to put that much money out into that yet, but, you know, they're willing to give us a pretty big discount on that. But our scanning machine automatically deposits that day. All of the checks that we receive that day, we just scan them through, and you can go to the computer and they appear right on the
So you're
account.
talking about when, like the water payments
Yeah,
will be done that day?
yeah.
Well, I'm glad, because this is something that was brought up over a year ago, about getting that service to the
It just
community.
takes so long, I mean, that's been going on for how long, 6 months, Betsy?
Yeah,
6
you know,
months, you know.
it's like little baby steps trying to get all of this switched over. You wouldn't believe all of the switching that we have to do because of we're a municipality.
Yeah.
And,
It's very frustrating to just sit back and watch all this when,
yeah,
like you say, you know,
And
we
you
talked
think-
about it a year.
yeah, you think, well, I'll just switch my account over from this bank to the other. It's not that easy with
Not
the
like that.
town.
So, do we set up another meeting, maybe if anybody's got an idea, bring their ideas or whatever, we can do that.
What else do you think we could cut on?
I don't know, I'm working where, you know, we're,
I mentioned on the utilities too, we gotta look at utilities, everybody, like one of the things, we have we're paying for two phones, one for the community center, one for the pool. We can run a phone wire and use, the same line from the pool and do away with, we're not paying and there's, we have to look at the buildings, because there's places that we might look at that, like, some of these lights are left on here at night. I told Patsy, lock that door, shut the lights. Nobody needs to come here. The lights shouldn't be on.
I come in the mornings and all the lights.
Yeah,
And
see-
even on some
See,
streets.
you have to do that, Patsy?
The phone bills are very high.
Yeah, I know. And the lights here, you see, we're wasting money. So we need to tell the police department and find out who's, we need to do something about it. The police, you need the commissioner, you need to go over there and handle that. If we come here, Patsy finds these lights on, we need to do something.
But you know
Just-
what
that's
bothers me here is we have talked about this over a year ago.
Yeah.
The cutting the lights, the cutting the gas, all this stuff, and here we are again, and we're still talking about, well, let's do it now. When we've already had this forever
We've been
talking
doing
about
it, like
it.
as Patsy says, they're on something.
But then for some reason, it went back to doing it again. So now here we are.
Everything changes, I mean, it doesn't stay the same all the time.
Well, I think the bottom line is all of us just need to get control.
And that's up to the supervisors.
I
And
think we just need to
administration.
get control. We have turned off all the lights. Every day when I leave,
Yeah.
all the lights
So
are
we
on.
need to find out.
I come in the morning and they're mysterious, they're all turned on again.
Police are scared in the dark.
What we need to do really is change that door knob. Put a doorknob on that and lock it. Nobody needs to come, they don't have no business here.
No, they don't. They used to use this room for interrogations and that type of thing, but they got the room
Okay,
down
so now
below
they- So
now.
that's what I mean, they don't, nobody needs to come beyond that door after hours.
Mm.
There's, so, Dave, let's get a doorknob over there and lock it.
The lights in your office being turned on too?
Al?
Or just in here?
I'm sorry?
The lights in your
That one
office,
right
are they
there?
being turned
No.
on too?
No, nobody has
Right
keys
there,
for
a
that.
doorknob there, yeah.
Put a doorknob and a lock,
I
okay.
give Patsy the key and then a doorknob on that door, lock it.
Does,
Yeah, we have to control, I mean, we're the, we have to control this.
I mean, I
If
can lock
somebody
this
don't
one.
care, we have to control, every little bit's gonna count. That's the way it should be all the time.
Well, and you know what? People who work here need to
Exactly.
think about it costing them. It's costing them. Because now we're having to cut.
We haven't talked about this, but how about library? Any changes down there?
They're working 24 hours, they're open 24 hours. We could, and they're part-time, so we could cut their hours. We could, possibly take a look at, other cuts in there.
Well, we could look at usage, numbers, how many people are actually coming in, when are their, the key hours? Is she doing classes in there like she was?
She is.
So I guess if we target that and see, let her work on how to better management, if that's the word to use.
She has a very good program set up for the summer for book reading and the library does not cost the town that much. All of their funding comes from federal and state. So we pay their salaries and we pay a portion of their electric bill and that type of thing, but all of their programs are paid through grants. So, yeah, we can cut down there, we can take a look at, we could cut hours. They're
Summer's
only
kind
open
of a-
24 hours a week now,
Summer is kind of a bad time because that's when most of the kids will be down there.
yeah.
And I've already heard people
Summertime's a
complain.
hard time to be cutting back down there, that's when the kids are using it the most.
Yes.
Well, we don't have to cut in the summer, that's the key time for them to use it, but look at their whole year.
Yeah.
Maybe she can work something out.
Some of their programs that they have down there, I think that they have kids on the waiting list on that.
They do,
Yeah.
they do, yeah.
And people have already complained about that, parents.
Well, I think it's a good program, but we just, it's very hard because you don't know how many kids are gonna want it. You don't wanna over order a lot of books and things for the kids. I think next year, Letha will probably have a little better hand and an idea on what her summer programs would be like. But yeah, she's very busy down there.
just, you know, we can check on all that.
And we're really trying to watch the expenditures and so forth at the pool. It's still very early, but we're looking at it not costing anything. We're trying to break even on that,
Okay.
so that.
And that's what, Pete and I are gonna, I don't know if we can go Eric the information, but we wanna talk to Dave about the pool, how it's being operated, what, you know, exactly how many hours and how we can utilize some of the manpower in the city, not just, you know, so we're gonna talk about that tomorrow to Dave.
And 6 lifeguards.
6 lifeguards, keep in mind, they're all getting paid the same. So we're not doubling up, we just need some, like, they may work different hours, so we're not paying all 6 lifeguards at the same time. We just need to be able to substitute lifeguards. Typically, there's only gonna be 2. However, we have parties that are scheduled that will probably require at least 3. And for every lifeguard over the 2, they have to pay another $25 an hour.
And the pool's booked quite a bit, isn't it?
It's booked up,
So how much do they get paid per hour, the lifeguards?
$7.90. I put on here 8 something because I wasn't sure the minimum wage.
It was 790.
$7.90 is the minimum wage.
I see it, yeah, it's 850 here.
Yeah.
I'd like to add a little bit. Can I continue talking about what she was talking about? Or, since we started with the lifeguards, Public Works hasn't had to vacuum the pool. The lifeguards are taking care of vacuuming the pool. You know, and they get paid lesser than my guys do. And within the lifeguards, they're doing the maintenance work, the vacuuming. So it's taking the heat off Public Works to work and working on other projects. I feel it's working for me.
I guess we'll, have another budget meeting. We'll get some more figures.
Is there a preference on when you guys want to have your next budget meeting? I'll have some more information filled out on the
I
budget
guess when you get
forms.
through from the auditor to all the information, we need that information.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the
Not that,
HERF money.
in our budget too, that's, when are we scheduled to talk to the county about that? Remember
The Dudleyville Park?
the
I got an email from the manager last week, and they canceled their meeting that was scheduled for the 20th or the 21st.
June 20th.
So they'll reschedule when they can find a good date for everybody.
What is that now?
The county has asked the town to consider taking ownership of the Dudleyville Park.
You mean the Reese Park?
Yeah.
And there's some advantages to that for us, but we don't want to accept it until we know. I told them, sure, we'll take it, but you'll need to pay us about $500,000 to take it. And
Well, maybe not.
She did too.
He did just want to take it. He
Well, I mean,
laughed
that's
at
what
me.
it's gonna take, really, if we have talks.
It's
We're
gonna be expensive.
It's gonna be,
It
you know,
will be
they
very
have to pay
expensive.
this expense, we can't.
It's a nice park and it's used quite a bit, but,
You know, it's
I
just
think
something.
We're just trying-
they're tearing it up quite a bit.
They're trying to dump an albatross on us. You know, we would have to go out there and work it. I would have to send them the gas.
It's not
You know,
used
there is
that
an
much.
upside though, they're doing upgrades to the water system, we could sell water, but then we take over ownership, you know, of a county park. They're just, you know, it's at the edge of their system, you know, they don't have people out here to do it, you know, it's difficult.
We got enough problems the way
We
we're
need to take
budgeted.
care of our house first.
Exactly.
There
Problems here,
is
this-
one advantage to it.
And it, yeah,
And it does have some property that we could possibly develop and
Revenues.
put, yeah, have revenues coming in.
and like you said, if they paid us to,
Yeah, I can't see just taking it just because they don't want it anymore.
They're not
But,
giving
you
it
know,
to you
we're just
because
gonna
it's
talk,
that,
yeah.
No, it's not
because it's a
profitable.
big June, they're giving it to you because they're tired, probably
yeah.
paying all the.
But, you know, we just gotta
upkeep.
talk about it.
So at the next budget meeting, we'll be talking about the revenues?
Yes, I will have all of those in order for you, and and then I'll have a worksheet, a spreadsheet made out with the 32 hours and the reduction in hour. Yeah, yeah, and so we can compare it to,
And so by then you should know about that employee, whether we're gonna be down to 9 or you're not gonna know?
could be months.
But I mean, he's not on the payroll, we're not paying, you know, he's not.
So you're gonna have the reduction of hours compared to the layoff of employees, right?
Yeah, that's
Compare
right,
both.
that's right. I will take a look at both, and,
And can you give us copies of those papers that you said you were gonna make us copies before we leave?
which ones were those?
I think it was on the positions, the ones you said that you hadn't made us copies.
Oh, these?
Mhm.
Okay, sure, I will make a
Isn't
copy.
that the same as this?
Yeah, I just took the amounts off of here, and it has all the positions on here. What it has is, all of the positions that are not filled, so. And it has a lot of hen scratch on it, so.
Okay, so we'll go to item 5, adjourn.
I make a motion with her.
Motion by Councilman Wickham to adjourn, I have a second by Ms. Medina to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
To adjourn, meeting's adjourned. Not that,
Clear money.
I'm sure we'll do it.
in our budget too, guys, when are we scheduled to talk to the county about that?
The Dudleyville Park?
Remember
I got an email from the manager last week, and they canceled their meeting that was scheduled for the 20th or the 21st.
June 20th.
So they'll reschedule when they can find a good day for everybody.
What is that now?
The county has asked the town to consider taking ownership of the Dudleyville Park.
You mean the Reese Park?
Yeah.
And there's some advantages to that for us, but we don't want to accept it until we know. I told them, sure, we'll take it, but you'll need to pay us about $500,000 to take it. And
Well, maybe not.
He did just want to take it. He
Well, I mean,
laughed
that's
at
what
me.
it's gonna take, really, if we have talks.
It's gonna be expensive.
It's gonna be,
It
you know,
will be
they have
very
to pay us expense, we can't.
It's a nice park and it's used quite a bit, but,
You know, it's
I
just
think
some,
we're
river
just
around
trying-
they're tearing it up quite a
They're,
bit too.
they're trying to dump an albatross on us, you know, we would have to go out there and work it, I would have to send them the gas.
It's
You
not
know,
used
There is
that
an
much.
upside though, we could, they're doing upgrades to the water system, we could sell water, but then we take over ownership, you know, of a county park. They're just, you know, it's at the edge of their system, you know, they don't have people out here to do it, you know, it's difficult.
We got enough problems the way
We
with
need
the
to
budget.
take care of our house first.
Exactly. We got
there
enough
is
problems here, and
one
this-
advantage to it.
And it, yeah,
And it does have some property that we could possibly develop,
Revenues.
but, yeah, have revenues coming in.
and like you said, if they paid us to,
Yeah, I can't see just taking it just because they don't want it anymore.
They're not
But,
giving
you
it
know,
to you
we're just
because
gonna
it's
talk
that,
about it.
No, it's not
because it's a
profitable.
big June, they're giving it to you because they're tired, probably
yeah.
paying all the.
But, you know, we just gotta
upkeep.
talk about it.
So at the next budget meeting, we'll be talking about the revenues?
Yes, I will have all of those in order for you, and then I'll have a worksheet, a spreadsheet made out with the 32 hours and the reduction in hour. Yeah, and so we can compare it to,
And so by then you should know about that employee, whether we're gonna be down to 9 or you're not gonna know?
could be months.
But I mean, he's not on the payroll, we're not paying, you know, he's not.
So you're gonna have the reduction of hours compared to the layoff of employees, right?
Yeah, that's
Compare
right,
both.
that's right. I will take a look at both, and,
And can you give us copies of those papers that you said you were gonna make us copies before we leave?
which ones were those?
I think it was on the positions, the ones you said that you hadn't made us copies.
Oh, these?
Mhm.
Okay, sure, I will make a
Isn't
copy.
that the same as this?
Yeah, I just took the amounts off of here, and it has all the positions on here. What it has is, all of the positions that are not filled, so. And it
So-
has a lot of hen scratch on it, so.
Okay, so we'll go to item 5, adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion by Councilman Newcomb to adjourn, I have a second by Ms. Medina to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
To adjourn, meeting's adjourned.